Hello everyone, welcome to another video from HacksYux. In today's video, we are going to talk about Samba. So what is Samba? Samba is basically a standard Windows interoperability suite for Linux and Unix. What does that mean? Basically, when you host a Windows domain or Active Directory environments, it can function both as domain controller, regular domain member. What that means is basically, for instance, you have a domain, you have a network. What is a domain? A domain is a Windows network, for instance, where there is a main computer known as a domain controller, and every other computer can connect to that computer to get instructions of what it has to do or what it does not have to do. So all this process is carried out with the help of Active Directory and SMB. SMB stands for Simple Message Block, SMB protocol. So once what SMB and CIFS protocol says individually is that, for instance, there is one file in that server and every other computer can connect to that file and use it. Like what NFS was in Linux versions, SMB is for Windows. So in order to use that SMB even in Linux systems, Samba is used. Samba is the interoperability of Windows SMB in Linux and Unix. So using Samba, even Windows can use the SMB service, the Samba of Linux, and hence even Linux source can connect into Windows SMB service. So that is why the Samba was created. Now, if you look into your metasploitable distribution and the scan of Nmap, you would look that this have a particular version of Samba SMB. Samba 3.x to 4.x and 3.0.2 Debian. Now, Samba runs in port 139 and 445 in both Linux and Windows system. In Windows, this will be SMB. Okay. So now, I know that this particular version of Samba is affected by a Symlink traversal exploit. Now, what is a Symlink traversal? A Symlink traversal is using symlinks. Now, what are symlinks? To see what that is, let's do Samba Symlink traversal. Until then, let us look into one thing. How do you know which shares are there even in the system? To do that, we'll use a tool called smbclient. Right, so smbclient minus L would be minus capital L. That will be listing all the shares that's available in this particular computer. So here you press enter for the password, and there you see these are the three different shares that are available in this system. Now, all the shares that ends with dollars are shares which are for used for different resources or the computer itself. Like IPC is inter-process communication, where different processes communicate via this share. Print is for printers, admin is for the admin login of the computer which is hosting this. Now, the basic point here is the shares ending with dollar is for use of the computer itself or the different machines. So looking into them right now is not what we are going to do. What we are going to look at is the number of directories which are given to you and which are shared by that computer itself. Here the temp and the opt directory is given to the computer. So for instance, first I need to go into this directory, the temp directory. So I would do smb client 4 backslashes 192.168.56.101 and then double backslash and tmp, or else the directory I want to open. Press an enter key, enter for password, and here you are. Anonymous login successful. So I have anonymously logged into SMB, and now if I press ls, I would see I can read everything. Now, for instance, I want to test if I can write something on the server or not, because the Symlink traversal exploit, that is a CVC remote exploit in platform Linux, is only gonna happen. Like this is an exploit, DV exploit, Samba 3.4.5, and okay, so this exploit might be a little difficult for most of you to understand right now, but let's look at the Metasploit version of it. In the Metasploit version, you see that this is an auxiliary module which has a Samba Symlink traversal exploit, and this module uses a directory traversal flaw in Samba CIFS server to exploit this flaw. A writable share must be specified. See, a writable share. Okay, so you need to verify that this share which you are using right now is writable. How would you verify that? Let's click help, and in help you will look into all the commands that you can give into this particular SMB client, right? Now here you will see a command known as put, right? Yeah, put. So put pastes the file from your local computer to the to this remote server. Now if I am able to put a file from my local computer to this Linux server, then I mean that this share is writable to any anonymous user. How would I verify that? I'll do this put etc passwd. Why am I using this file? Because you can use any random file. I'm using etc password here because that is quite common in any Linux systems, and that's world readable and readable. So you can always put etc password here, and I will just put a directory name where I would want to put etc password as. So let's say put etc password pass. So now I have put this file etc password as pass in this directory. If I do an ls, I would see that pass is here. So that means that I can write to this server. If I rm pass and then ls, it will be deleted. So this means that this /tmp is a writable share. So that gives me the ability to use this particular exploit against it, right? So I'm gonna copy this, and I'm just gonna go to msf console. So using SMB client, you can find out a lot of such information about this SMB servers. Of course, there's a lot of other things you can try out, like there are delete, there are prompt, dunya bhar ka, there are like a lot of the different commands which you can try out in this system, and you can understand better the services, right? So for instance, you can use the get command to get a file from the server. You can use the dir command to list files, which pretty much same as ls. You can use delete, you can use rmdir, you can use lcd to change your local directory, right? Local directory in the sense the directory which you are using when you are using SMB client. My is the root of my Linux system. So you will get to understand these once you start using this using and practicing more about it. So here Metasploit is loaded. I would use and I would paste this Symlink traversal, and I would show the options. I would see the options here. So as you see, it asks for an SMB share and an R host, right? So here I set the R host to set R host 192.168.56.101, right? Set SMB share to TMP, right? So now if I show the options again, you would see that every option is set here. So now all I need to do is exploit this. Okay, no, not exploit, I need to run, because this is an auxiliary module, okay, not an exploit. So what this module is supposed to do is it's gonna use Samba Symlink. So I would just give you the basics of what this is doing. Symlink basic explain. So basically what this is doing is it is creating a symbolic link, right? It is creating a symbolic link here, and using that symbolic link, it is trying to put your entire file system, like for instance, see, if you create a symbolic link from games to mint SMB games, this means that you can just type games every time, and MNT USV games will automatically be put here by this computer itself. So what we will be doing here in this exploit is we are using this Symlink traversal. We are using a Symlink to run the local, that is the root of the file system. This is the root of the file system, to change into rootfs. So when I log into SMB again and cd to rootfs, I will be able to use, like for instance, cd rootfs. Right now I will see nothing, there is no object name is found, right? But once I quit this and once I run this, I see SMB kind of bad network trying to connect to server, right? Guess right. So you need to give the SMB shell like this, not with a backslash. So now as you see, it's trying to mount the rootfs into the root of the file system. Now it has put another directory where the entire file system root is placed. So now it's saying now I can simply access this and I'll get everything I want. Now how would I be sure of that? I would just do wait a sec, and here I can, as you can see, there is a root fs here, right? So I can simply cd to root fs, and using this symbolic link you will notice that I am in the root of this entire Linux system, metasploitable system. Now I can simply go to root and I can simply look into all these keys again, just the way I did it to get SSH keys, right? So basically you have your entire, you can traverse the entire file system just by using this Symlink traversal exploit. So that was one exploit about how you can use Samba and an auxiliary module in Metasploit to get your work done and hence have access to the entire file system. Now any hacker, what the next step any hacker would do is copy the SSH keys and then log in as root. Now apart from that, this version of SMB is also vulnerable to another exploit. So that exploit is this SMB Samba 3.0 to 4.0 exploit user man. So yeah, so username man script, this is the exploit. You can use the exploit directly from exploit db, but I would want you to first understand it via metasploit. So metasploit, right? So here I will rather search in Metasploit rather than find out here. So here search user man. So as Metasploit searches for this next user, and I can simply quit this. I hope you understood how the Symlink traversal worked, and right now we would use a different exploit to exploit again this server, where I will directly get a shell of the Linux system. So we'll just have to wait till Metasploit searches. I can look into SMB user man script exploit. Yep, this one. So as you see, what we basically need to do is use this exploit, multi Samba user man script, which is the same exploit which which was there in exploit db, but it will be, yeah. So let's usc paste, and here you are, show options. So here, as you can see, the R port is already set. I set the R host to 192.168.56.101 and pretty much bless exploit. So once I exploit this, I will be able to looking into the sockets and open a command shell directly. So now if I press ls, and again I have a shell of this particular system, and thus with this I can also see like what am I logged in as, and you would see root. So I have a direct root shell using this script. So this is another way where you can exploit the SMB, where you can directly get a root shell. And here we also talked about how you can use Samba Symlink traversal in order to get a root file system in front of you, and you can access the entire root file system from there. So I hope you enjoyed seeing these videos, and please do recommend us to your friends and colleagues, and I hope that in the next few videos you will find it more interesting. Thank you.